this topic, and by the way, if any of my kids are watching this before they're 18 years old, please turn off the video and listen to it later. This is one you're not supposed to hear till you're 18. This lecture really is based on this gorgeous book that I bought at Amazon. And it's a book you wrote, The Joy of Intimacy. And when I read this back cover, intimacy is an art. It's not something that just happens. It must be learned, cultivated, and practiced carefully if it is to flourish. And wow, I was kind of blown away when I read that cover. I was, to be honest, quite embarrassed and blushing.
Success.
Okay. Is it okay to talk about sex with a rabbi?
It's the only person you should talk to.
Huh.
Well, some rabbis anyway. It's interesting. The subtitle of the book, A Soulful Guide to Love, Sexuality, and Marriage. And actually what the book is all about is that love and sexuality are killing marriages.
Love and sexuality are killing marriages.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, you know that I love you very much. You know that you've changed our lives very much. And with all due humility, what gives you the authority to talk about sex? Most 25-year-olds today have more experience than some of the most seasoned rabbis when it comes to sexuality in all the ways you would measure it.
Then let me ask you a question. So why are they so bummed out about it? Why are people so unhappy with their sexuality? Confused, frustrated, bored, guilty. I mean, every unhappy feeling. We're not doing well when it comes to intimacy. And the real problem that scared me, which caused me to write the book, if people don't get along, okay, you know, married couples, they have their differences, they don't see eye to eye, they argue, they fight, okay. But what's happening today is that in good marriages, functional, happy marriages that we would call successful, everything seems to be right. And yet the husband or the wife in a quiet moment will tell you that they feel alone in the world.
Now we're actually going to talk about marriages in a second, and I hope you're not going to kick me out of the room. We're actually going to be talking about porn in a second as well. But let's stay with the single person right now. When I grew up, right, the ideal vision given to us in the Western society was of the playboy man who has beautiful airline stewardesses visit him on a weekly or bi-weekly basis where he's got no commitment and he's got no obligation, and just different women coming in from out of town and having this wonderful sexual relationship. And I think it's fair to say that today, almost everybody's got that option for that life, but they're very unhappy. What happened?
Exactly. What happened? So the media, or whoever it is, I'm not finding who to blame, try to convince us that human relationships can be casual, they can be entertaining, they can be impersonal, and just strictly for fun, recreational. And we get this message 1,000 times a day from every direction. And after all of that, we are not relaxed, we are not enjoying, it's not working, because it's not true.
Now, you're a bit older than me. I thought, you know, you were here in the 60s and the 70s, right? Free love. In fact, I looked up the definition today before our meeting. Having sexual relations according to choice without being restricted by marriage or other long-term relationships. That was the definition of love in the 70s. And they tried it, and it didn't work, and it fell apart. And it seems like we're on that again. Is that where we are? Are we back to what it was in the 70s, where people just have sex with everybody for whatever reason?
I think it's worse.
You think it's worse?
Much worse. Back then it was, you know, you have free love and you have sex as much as you want, and it didn't satisfy. Today, it's making people crazy. I mean, we don't know what it is anymore. It's very sad that people are not even interested in sex anymore.
You know, it's true. I have two friends who are unmarried. One of them's 30. One of them is in his 40s. Both very, very good-looking, nice, successful men who have not been married, who are really good guys, true friends of mine. And both of them are reporting to me that if they have sex once every 6 months, twice a year, that's good enough because they got to focus on their body and being healthy and on their business. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what happened here?
So here's the scary thought. Is that how a society becomes extinct? I'm serious. Is that what happened to the Romans?
I don't know.
I think so.
Huh?
They just quit.
Okay, let's go through one more statistic. Again, preparing for today's talk, before the 70s, adults were surveyed, and most of them had like 3 sexual encounters with different people. After the 70s, the number went up to about 5 or 6. In the early 2000s, I think it was like 2008, they did the same survey, and they found the average number was 11. And it seems like all of a sudden, since 2010 till now, in these last 8 years, that number's gone to like, I don't know, 100, 120 sexual relationships before people get married. It's almost like it was like going up, going up, going up, and all of a sudden, whoop, went way up. What happened there?
All bets were off. People got desperate and just threw caution to the wind and decided to maybe the quantity will make up for the lack of quality.
And what's happening out there today?
It's not working.
It's not.
No. I actually read recently that in England, the health department, the government, started a new division specifically targeting the problem of loneliness. It's a health hazard. People who feel alone in the world, their immune system crashes, and they're vulnerable to all sorts of diseases and stuff. Being alone is a terrible feeling. It's not loneliness, because these people are very active, they're very sociable, they're all over the place, they travel, they have friends, they have thousands of likes on their site, so the word like has lost all meaning, the word love has lost all meaning, sex has lost all meaning. I gotta tell you, Jackie Mason has this routine. Jackie
Mason jokes. I don't know how you learned them, but I love what he says.
He says he comes to California and nobody seems to be employed. Everybody's sitting around in cafes all day long. So he asks them, "Why don't you have a job?" And they say they're producers. And they're producing their next movie, and they're trying to decide where to put the sex scene. So he says to them, "Why does every movie have to have a sex scene?" And they say, because the movie is a depiction of reality in real life, and in life, people have sex. And he says, "Yeah, but they also have soup." Why does it have to have a sex scene, not a soup scene? And more people have soup than sex. Because nobody ever says, "Soup? No, I got a headache." So it's a really funny routine, but there's some truth to it. Sex today has become soup.
I'm kind of embarrassed having this conversation with the rabbi. I don't know why I'm actually flushing. We've known each other for 15 years.
Try this. Ask a friend of yours, what exactly is the difference between soup and sex?
Yeah, I remember you actually put out a video.
Right.
I remember the first time we were in David Suisse's office and you asked that question. I was newly married. And I was like, God, this guy is nuts. And then I sat down and made a list, and I was quite embarrassed by the results.
No, so the real tragedy is that sex today has become soup. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But it's...
So we did a great lecture before. I think it was called Financial Abundance. And in Financial Abundance, we talked about making a lot of money. And you mentioned that if you make a lot of money just to make a lot of money, that can lead to depression or something like that. And now I'm hearing that if you have a lot of sex for the sake of having sex, it can lead to loneliness. Is there a connection between the two?
You put your hopes in something incorrectly, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, that's the old story with the false gods. We put all our hope, we invest ourselves in something thinking it's going to bring us satisfaction, contentment, happiness, something. And of course it doesn't.
Okay. So we're right now 2018. Are you saying people should only have sex with one person? Is that really?
No, I'm saying people should not have sex. People should have intimacy. Because the experts today are now starting to admit that putting all the emphasis on more pleasure has been very destructive. People don't need more pleasure. I mean, we have chocolate. We don't need more pleasure. We need more closeness. Sex does not produce closeness. Intimacy does. So what I'm saying is that sex has replaced intimacy, and we're paying a terrible price for it. Well, let me explain how this love and pleasure are destroying marriages. Because if I marry someone for their money, I say, I love you for your money, and then you lose your money, I'm not going to love you anymore. Well, I never loved you. That's a misnomer. I never loved you. I just loved the money. I tolerated you because I wanted the money. If you don't have the money, I have no tolerance for you. Right? I mean, that's obvious. Why is it any better if I marry you for love? If I marry you for love, it's not you, it's the love. I am married to the love. If the love is gone, I don't tolerate you. What are you doing here? I don't need you, I just wanted the love. So if I'm not getting love, you're irrelevant.
So you're not getting married for the money, you're not getting married for the love. Sex, forget about it, go for intimacy. So you're getting married for the intimacy?
Yeah.
Huh?
So the first thing is, I have to marry the person, not something about the person. Not even the nice things about. So a guy says to me, I love everything about my wife. And I say, that's strange, because your wife wants a divorce. So what's going on? He says, no, I love everything about my wife. I said, but do you love her? He said, I love everything about her. I said, that was not the question. Do you love her? He says, what about her? Not about her. Do you love her? He says, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, I know it's a tangent, but there's a dear friend named David who's dating now to get married. And he's really serious about marriage. And the last 2 or 3 girls that he's been going out with, he's been telling me, I love her for this and this and this. So if we can take a quick tangent, he's supposed to love her. That's how he finds the person he's going to marry?
See, it gets a bit complicated. Before you're married, you don't have each other. All you have are the things about each other. And that's how you decide who you're going to marry. By looking at all the things about them. But the marriage itself means you have moved past all those things, and now it's just us.
So when you get married to somebody, you can't yet know that you love them, so you go based on the things they have that you love. But once you're married, you develop a love of them, regardless of what they do?
Something more than love. Something more than love.
What's more than love?
A bond that is unconditional. Love is always conditional. This notion of unconditional love is a monstrosity. You can't have unconditional love. If I decide I'm going to love you unconditionally, I've dismissed you. You're no longer relevant. Because no matter what you do, I'm going to love you. So you don't count anymore. Children hate to hear that. Parents say, oh, we love you unconditionally. And the kids say, oh yeah, watch this. And if that don't work, then watch. I'm going to get you to admit you don't love me, because love is not supposed to be unconditional. Love means a reaction to me. So if I'm behaving hateful, what are you loving? Don't you notice me? Don't you care what I do, what I say? So what is unconditional? We belong to each other. We are a unit. Like parents saying to their children, we're going to be your parents no matter what. I'm your mother. That is unconditional. You know how unconditional that is? I'm your mother even when I hate you. And right now, I hate you.
But isn't God's love to us unconditional?
Nope.
It's not. There's condition to the love.
Sure.
But no matter what we do, he still loves us and forgives us and is willing to accept us back, isn't he?
Willing to accept us back means he'll love us again someday if we get our act together. God says, you are my children, you are my creation, what am I going to do? But right now, I don't like you because you're not acting nice, you're not being good, you're not... So the love should never be unconditional because then it's not real love. Emotions have to be fickle, have to be changeable. Always, that's the excitement of it. He loves me not. He loves me not. But the relationship is a fact, not a feeling. And a fact must be unconditional.
Okay.
So God says, you are my children. That's unconditional. But do I love you? If you act lovable, I'll love you. If not. So love is really killing relationships because we're not marrying each other. We're marrying the love. Like this guy says to me, and the first time I heard it, I came to Minnesota as a yeshiva bacher, and without any experience at all. And this guy says to me, I'm getting divorced. I've had it. I don't need this. And naively I said, you don't need this. Get rid of this. Why are you getting rid of her? Why are you divorcing her? Because you don't need this. Of course, when he said this, he meant her. She was never a person. She was a this. And he doesn't need any more of this. He wants to try some of that. So they were never married.
You're going, with all due respect, completely against I'm almost 50. I've learned in the last 40 years. So saying I love you to your wife is not appropriate, is not the goal.
It works like this. You don't get married out of love. You don't need love from your spouse. Because if you really need love, you're not ready to get married. You still need to be nurtured or raised or loved. If you really need love, you go home to your mother. You get married when you don't have that need anymore. So what happens is this. You don't need love from your wife. You need your wife's love. That's very different. The reason you need her love is because she's your wife, so you want every part of her. So if she has love, you want it. If she has time, you want it. If she has devotion, respect, whatever it is, she's important to you. And once she's important to you, love becomes appropriate. Because if you think about it, it is so arrogant. It's so embarrassing. When I love you, you are the most important person in the universe. When I stop loving you, you're garbage. How arrogant is that? I mean, it is so abusive. My love makes you important. Without my love, you're nothing. Come on, what is that? So, I don't need love from my wife. But if she is my wife, I want her love. So, for example, would a mother ever say to her children, you don't love me? Okay, you're not the only children in the world. The neighbor's children love me. They're cuter than you. No mother would ever say that. Because she doesn't need love from her children. Love that she can get from somebody else? No. She needs her children's love. And you can't get that from somebody else's children. So if you need your wife's love, you can't get that from anybody else. If you need love from your wife, and you're not getting it from her, bad news. So the love, we worship love. Let's admit this. We have an idol. The idol of America is love. We'll do everything for love. We'll kill for love. We'll die for love. It's a religion. And as every idol in the past, it will disappoint because it's not what we're hoping it will be. How do you convince an 11-year-old boy in America that the brother he hates is more important than the dog he loves?
Shoot the dog.
I won't convince him. We'll just make him depressed, right? Because he believes that his dog is more important because he loves his dog. Now, come on, something is wrong with that. Your love is more important than your brother. This is not good. Not good. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.